Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to the Power Platform Finance User Group. This is our fourth session that we've done online, and today we've got an excellent speaker. Me and Rishi have already sort of seen part of the session already, and it was really exciting to see. So I hope you all find it useful. Just a little bit about the user group. So it's a community of finance and IT professionals sharing how to leverage the Power Platform, and the Power Platform being mainly Power BI, Power Apps, and Power Automate, previously Flow. So here we are. So we've got Rishi, who's on the line. Rishi, do you want to just introduce yourself quickly? I'm sure most people have seen your name up there.
Yeah, sure. Hi guys. Yeah, Rishi's up there. So yeah, I've been working a chartered accountant, working in LTS, been kind of started this community last year with some face-to-face events, and yeah, brought this online and brought along Chris and Naveen to help as co-organisers.
Hi everyone, so I'm Chris. I'm also at Altius. I'm a chartered accountant as well by background, and that's how I got into Power BI. So I'm very interested in how the Power Platform can be used to sort of leverage and sort of help out in terms of accounting. And finally, we've got Naveen on the line. Naveen, do you want to quickly say hello?
Hi guys, hope you're all well. It's nice weather to have a wonderful another session here of PPF. Welcome everybody, and I hope you guys enjoyed the session. Cheers.
Great. Okay, so just to make you aware, if you haven't been onto the Power Platform Finance website, there's a couple of new things up there now. Firstly, there's a talk that Rishi did with Amy from Microsoft. It's a really interesting overview, sort of going through the storytelling of an actual process. Rishi did this event live about a year ago, but the recording is great, so I strongly urge you to listen to that. We've also got the recording from last week's session as well, which is done by ValQ. So if you want to know more about that and about their solutions, then you can log on and see that. Finally, if you've got, a couple more things. So if you've got any feedback, please do fill in the feedback form and let us know about what you'd like to see, what you thought of the session, what was useful, what wasn't so useful. It's really useful for us to take any feedback, and then we can adapt, sort of change the sessions through time. And we'll put the feedback in the comments as well. So next week, we've got Actress doing the talk. So in 2 weeks' time, so we run these every 2 weeks. So we're going to confirm who the speaker is going to be, but we know they will be talking. So please tune in for that in 2 weeks' time. But today, and
yeah,
just before I hand over,
just on that quickly, what I'll do, I'm going to just, so the time that we do this for, we've got a couple of options. So the one of the guys we're speaking to is actually based in Australia, so but this time probably doesn't work very well for him. But if we do want to stick with his time, we can, and one of his colleagues will present. But otherwise, we could potentially look at doing it at a slightly different time. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put 3 times into the chat window, and then if people could just go in and just do a thumbs up against the one that works best for them, and then we'll just count the votes that way. That'll probably be easiest, if that's okay, guys. And lastly, just on the feedback as well. So there's a question at the end about kind of Teams or Slack channels to join. So the idea behind that is we want to, for each one of these webinars, or for each person we bring in who's presenting, we want to be able to create that more engagement going forward as well, and the opportunity to, if you try out some of those products or you do something with it, to have that opportunity to have that kind of conversation ongoing. So if you are interested in that, obviously fill in the feedback form and just indicate as the last question which teams you want to be part of, and put your email address, and once we get enough people to make this viable, we will definitely set up those teams.
Great, thanks Rishi. So today, as I said at the beginning, really excited to invite Mike from Power on. But yeah, it's really interesting. Sort of, I've never seen anything in quite the way that this works in terms of writing back and planning in Power BI. So I'm really excited to see today's session. And without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Mike.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Appreciate that. And hello, everybody. Looking forward to today's meeting. Thank you all for taking some time today. I know we're different time zones, and you guys are in the evening over in the UK, and really appreciate you guys spending some time with us today. What I have planned for our meeting for the remainder of the hour is going to be a quick session overview here you see on your screen. I'd like to spend a few minutes on our company profile to let everybody know who we are and what we do as a Microsoft partner. I will also then kind of hone in on some of our product differentiators and use cases and why we actually exist within the Power Platform. And then today, when we show you the product, we're going to focus in on a few things, mainly around the finance function. We're going to show you how to design a write back enabled report directly within Power BI. We're going to talk about data entry and planning, commentary to data points, how you can do driver-based modeling, machine learning, statistical forecasting, incorporating that directly into your planning process, how you can do what-if scenario creation, version control, workflows and approvals, and an audit log and permission-based security directly within Power BI. Once we go through a nice detailed demonstration of the product and show you how you can kind of do this stuff yourself within the Power Platform, we will also spend some time on the architecture, what actually takes place behind the scenes. Throughout the entire meeting here today, if you have any questions, please feel free to add them directly to the comments of the Teams meeting. We will either address them as they come through, or we'll wait till the end and have a general Q&A where we can kind of go through those questions, and you guys can unmute yourself and ask any questions that you may have. So to get started, we'll hop right in. We are Power On, and we are a Microsoft ISV partner. And what we do is we have a suite of solutions, okay, that add on to the Power BI product. Again, a true add-on. This is not a third-party software or a new piece of software that you will need to learn and then embed into the solution. This is Power BI. And we have Visual Planner, which you see here on your red logo. Write back, data entry, budgeting and forecasting, goal seeking, real-time commentary, real-time what-if analysis directly within Power BI reports. Okay, and the way that product works and presents itself is a collection of 4 custom visuals that our users and our clients are now able to use and leverage within the Power BI and the Power Platform ecosystem to perform a various, set of tasks that you may be relying on Excel or Hyperion or TM1 or third-party planning softwares to kind of accomplish these jobs and these tasks today. What we allow you to do is bring everything into the Power BI umbrella. In addition, listen, we're all in the finance world, right? So we understand that a lot of people have a comfort level when it comes to Excel. So in addition to being able to do all of your planning and analysis and data entry within Power BI, we also offer an Excel add-in called Power Planner. Power Planner is simply just that. It's an add-in to Excel where you can come in and enter data into Excel. It writes back to the same database and data model that the Power BI is looking at. So if I make a change in Excel, it updates SQL and Tabular and also refreshes Power BI. If I make a change in Power BI, it writes back to the same database and updates Excel. So it truly is a choice of user interface for the finance teams to choose from. All right. In addition, we also offer an add-on for financial report writing. So think of paginated operational boardroom ready reports directly within Power BI, being able to create income statements, balance sheets, cash flows, and make them look boardroom ready and have those as dynamic reports that you build one time. And every time you pull that report back up or we update data in our database, that report will automatically and dynamically change. Down the bottom right, you can see some of the clients we work with. We work with small and mid-sized businesses, and we also work with some of the biggest companies in the world. So you can kind of see just kind of where we are in the gamut of things and people using our products. A few differentiators here I want to make sure that everyone understands, and again, why we exist. You know all the fantastic work that is being done within Power BI and with Power Apps and the Power Platform as a whole. It's pretty spectacular, right? It's really exciting. Business Application Summit a couple weeks ago was absolutely fantastic and a lot of really exciting news coming out of the Power Platform world. There is a slice of pie that we help Microsoft clients with, okay? And that's kind of where these differentiators come in. Number one, budgeting and forecasting and planning of any kind. So I am not just talking about finance, okay? Yes, we do help finance directly with expense planning and revenue forecasting and workforce planning and FTE and headcount, right? But I also mean that we assist with some of the biggest operational and sales teams in the world, okay, with demand planning, sales forecasting, CRM planning, inventory management, supply planning. All of that can be used with the visuals inside the product. So we are a Swiss Army knife for many organizations. We also allow for organizations, and some of you may be with very complex companies, right, where we are not just using SQL or a tabular model and Power BI. There may be other databases that exist within our ecosystem, right? Our visuals also enable the write back to take place, not just to SQL and analysis services and tabular, but also to write back to Oracle databases, SAP HANA, Teradata, Hadoop, Snowflake, Amazon Redshift, IBM DB2 directly out of the box. Okay, so a lot of our Fortune companies, larger enterprise organizations have multiple databases, and we provide that flexibility for them. One of the main driving points for why we exist is we are quite literally the only company in the world that allows for real-time updates to SSAS and tabular models directly from Power BI. So if your organization and many FP&A teams have built tabular models and analysis services or plan to use premium data sets to drive all of their FP&A reporting and analysis, the only problem is there's no way to get real-time data back into those tabular models. A lot of people are relying on Excel. They then upload that into a SQL database or a data warehouse. They use tabular as the semantic layer, right? And then eventually that gets into Power BI for reporting. With our solution, users can now come in and enter data that updates SQL, refresh tabular, and refresh Power BI in less than 2 seconds. In addition, many of our finance teams have been asking us, hey, Mike, hey, Power On, we need the ability to incorporate R and Python, okay, and machine learning into our forecasting process. No longer do we want to just simply say, take my last year's actuals, move that forward a year, and that's where we're going to start our budget from. They want to be able to put statistical algorithms on top of historical data, okay, and pre-populate a forecast for their contributors to come and use from day one. In addition to all those things, we also support Power BI Report Server, folks. So if you know an organization or if your company is using Power BI Report Server, there's a lot of limited functionality that comes with that decision, right? You're not getting things that are in the service, and you're also not getting things that are in Power BI Premium. We provide full functionality to the Power BI Report Server, folks. And what we do for finance teams is just this that you see on your screen here. We provide a unified planning platform. We supercharge Power BI to be a full-blown CPM tool. Now you can replace Excel, third-party planning softwares. You can replace SharePoint lists and all the different ways that people are collecting data in that manual sense and bring everything into a single platform that your finance team can now come to Power BI for all of their reporting, their analysis, their data entry, their commentary, etc. Everything in one screen. Okay. Also, the performance is second to none. Okay. A lot of companies, that are using third-party software or even Excel. You guys are familiar with all the Excel hell that comes along with clerking multiple spreadsheets, and even companies that are using third-party softwares, right, from IBM and from Oracle and from other products like that. You guys have all had systems like that where you guys go and run an algorithm or run a calculation, and what do? You get a cup of coffee, right? So it takes, a couple minutes or 5 minutes to run something and get that report back to you, the output. With our product, everything is instantaneous. So when you come in and make a change, not only will we update the database and refresh your model, but you'll also see that instantly on your Power BI report. So the performance that Power BI and tabular models and SQL can provide our customer base is unrivaled in the industry. Okay, we're talking multiple seconds for billions of transactions to be kind of used. We also allow for the unified language. So many people are maintaining multiple sets of business language. You have DAX formulas for all of our reporting in Power BI. We then keep things in Excel where we do all of our planning. And we may even have something in Oracle or in Hyperion or TM1. And all of a sudden we have 3 different calculations for net sales. And that can be a pain in the to maintain across a global organization. With us and our product and getting everything into the Microsoft stack, there is now one unified language in DAX that becomes the end-all and the one-stop shop for all of your business language. In addition, from a planning perspective, with Power BI and the 250 plus custom visuals that you can provide, you can actually do a great job at telling a story with data. So not only now can you provide this nice web-based input form and get rid of the Excel clerking that most people do, but you can also tell stories with data. You can give the inputters the information they need to make informed decisions. And then last but not least, machine learning, again, being able to leverage the power of Python and R to drive proactive planning. Now, before we open up the product, just want to keep in mind that we are the Swiss Army knife I talked about. Yes, we do everything a finance team could possibly need. Version control, budgeting, goal seeking, real-time what-if scenarios, financial reporting, master data management, custom roll-ups and hierarchies, right? Everything a finance team needs. We also can wear multiple hats for companies. Everything you see here is in use with the Fortune 500 company. Okay, lease management, employee target setting, inventory, demand planning. We have people that do project management with us as well. Okay, so please keep an open mind when you see our product today. And then here's a really great success story, focusing in on a finance team of a multi-billion-dollar publicly traded company here in the United States, where we were able to replace Hyperion, HFM, and Essbase for them. And when I say we, I mean us and the Power Platform and Microsoft. Okay, so we were able to replace that entire Oracle planning suite with SQL, SSAS Tabular, Power BI, and us as the front end for all their data collection and planning. Not only did we save them $1 million in licensing expense, their annual planning cycle went from 3 months to 2.5 weeks. Again, this is not a mom and pop shop. This is a multi-billion-dollar publicly traded company. So we have a lot of success stories there where we've supplemented and or replaced existing third-party planning software. And of course, if you guys are interested, always more than happy to have you speak to customers as well to hear what their journey was like with us. So what I'll do now is take a quick transition and hop into the product itself. As you guys all know, we're in the Power Platform for Finance report meeting today. I'm assuming that most of us have an understanding of Power BI and how it works. So with that assumption, I will now take you through a nice detailed demo of how our product works and how you can leverage this yourself to replace manual reporting processes, okay, to replace manual spreadsheets, to replace expensive third-party softwares, and bring everything into the same one-stop shop experience for your end users. So now you can see that we are inside of Power BI. We have standard visuals that you may use every single day for reporting, right? A bar chart, a pie chart, a map, okay? All things that you use every single day. In the middle of the screen, what we're going to kind of showcase for everybody here today, our suite of Visual Planner comes with 4 custom visuals that can be used by a finance team or Power BI developers right out of the box with our product. So many finance teams are leveraging, as you guys may be familiar with, something called a Power BI matrix. Okay, the Power BI matrix, as you know, is a pivot table directly within Power BI. You can connect to your data sets or your data model of choice. You drag on what you want in your rows, columns, and values, and it populates a matrix or a pivot table directly within Power BI. Now, the problem with the matrix is it's not a two-way street. This is read-only. I cannot come in here and change this 20 million unit number and update that and see that update allocate down over all my brands. I cannot come in here and describe a variance, okay? With Power BI, you may be familiar, you can leave comments to a visual or to a report, but you're not able to leave a comment to an individual intersection or individual data point. And that's what our visuals will allow you to do. I cannot come over here and update 215 to 220 and see that allocate down everything. So with our product, all you need to do is any existing matrix that you may have, you can simply replace that with our custom visual. And just like that, congratulations, everybody. You have built your first right-back enabled report. So again, this is not a new product for you to learn. This is Power BI. This is not something you will design and create in another system and embed into these reports. Again, this is Power BI. So instead of using the standard matrix, you will now use our matrix. And as you can imagine, think of all the Excel spreadsheets that are going around your business right now. You can have, that's the blueprint for this product, right? So you can use that. You know what the input screen looks like. You recreate it using our matrix visual here and connect it to your database and data model of choice. And from there, you're off and running. So what actually takes place here is we are connecting our data entry via our web service back to your data model of choice. And once you establish that connection string, it is 100% Power BI. To show you an example, right now our end users can come in and enter data at a brand and product level. What happens if I want to add a deeper level of granularity and I want them to also be able to enter data at a customer name level? I drag that in, and just like that, you can see that our input screen or our custom visual has been immediately updated. So now our end users can come in and update data at a brand, product, or down to a customer name level. As you can imagine, you can drag on any data you want inside of your pivot table. We have companies that do their P&L planning with us, GL planning. We have companies that do time tracking and planning, right? If you want to plan for hours or utilization percentages, you dictate what fields and what dimensions you would like here inside the matrix, and our product and our visuals will do the rest. So once you create these input screens, you replicate what you're doing in Excel or what you're doing in your third-party planning software, and you recreate it here within Power BI, you have a full-blown planning and forecasting platform at your fingertips. In your top right corner, I want to take something to the finance team's attention very quickly. With our product, we never write back to actuals. So your Power BI and all the historical reporting and analysis you're doing stays intact. What we allow you to do is update versions of data. In this example, you can see a couple different versions up here, a budget, a forecast, okay, a Q1 forecast, whatever that may be for your finance team and the versions that you need to update. So again, only allowed to update versions of data. We will never touch historical data for any reason. So as you can see, I've clicked my budget version here. I took a copy of last year's actuals and moved them forward a year. And now I want to come in and allow my end users to come in and make changes. So with our product, we can update figures inside this matrix. And I will show you a couple different ways that you can interact with our visuals. One is to be override and update numbers at the lowest level of granularity, or you can even do that at a subtotal level. So if you see 8.7 million here for Q1, which is a total of Apple brand that has 2 products and for 3 months, I can change this to 15 million. That is an update of 7 million. And now when I press Save Changes, that 7 million unit increase will be allocated down my Apple brand, my products, my months, my industries, my customers, my salespeople. And in less than 2 seconds, we've updated SQL, we've updated our tabular model, and we've also refreshed Power BI. Okay, out of the box, everybody, we hear the question all the time, how did that just spread? What just happened there, right? How do we actually do that inside of Power BI? So with our product, out of the box with 0 formulaic language or any DAX work or anything like that, takes into account the starting numbers here. So it's all spread down proportionally, or we call a breakback, right? So 2.9, 7.4, 4.6. That increase of 7 million units was allocated down proportionally, and then so on down the hierarchy and the semantic layer that we have designed. Okay, so again, the lowest level of granularity has been updated, and everything is refreshed in less than 2 seconds. So all of our standard visuals were all updated to show that increase. If you do not want to do a very basic override like I just showed you, we also have smart formulas that you can leverage. So think of the different types of things that an input or a contributor would like to do. They want to increase something, decrease, multiply, divide. All you need to do is use the first 3 characters of that formula, press Save Changes, and just like that, we will increase March 2019 for Apple brand by 10%. In addition, we also offer custom spreads. So if you want to do a capital E here in 9 million, as you can imagine, the capital E stands for even. So we will spread that evenly over how many months, products, customers, employees, whatever that is inside your model, okay? And as you can see here, we have 3 million, 3 million, and 3 million as we did an even spread. Another very important feature that we offer our client base is something called a goal seeking feature. It allows you to do custom allocations and breakbacks whenever you want with 0 training. We take a look down here for September total of 10.9 million, and my finance manager or my boss tells me that I need to increase this by 2 million units. The thing is, I don't want to come here and just increase that by 2 million and have that spread down over all my products. That is unrealistic to me. I want to pick our best performing solutions. So now I can come in here and select my 3 best products, do something called a goal seek. See how these numbers have changed, these cells have changed green. Now, whatever change I make to my model, or in this case to my total for September, an increase of 2 million, will now only be allocated down to those 3 data points. So I press Save Changes, and now proportionally will only spread down to those 3 data points. Everything else will stay static, and all of our calculated columns will automatically be reprocessed. So those are a couple different ways that you can interact with our visuals. As you can imagine, it's very easy to use. We quite literally don't give our end users and contributors training. Okay, you put a couple of different smart formulas on a stick-it note, and they're going to be off and running and using the product. In addition to different types of allocations I've showed you using smart formulas, you can actually create your own custom spreads and allocations via drag and drop. To showcase what I mean, I will now create a picket fence up here with a drag and drop visual of ours, and this is our second visual. I will press Save Changes, and just like that, we will now reallocate our entire sales and revenue plan to mimic this allocation. As you can see, all of our numbers have changed in our matrix, And now we've updated March to 41 million. We've updated June to 40 million, and our third and final peak is October of 40 million. Again, just for demo purposes, but I want to showcase the ability here for end users to do any custom allocations and spreading they want using smart formulas, using overrides, or even using a drag and drop visual like that. In addition, everything is fully interactive. So all of your Power BI reports and experiences that your people have come to know and love are fully functional with our product. You can filter and drill down to whatever subset of data you want. In this example, I'm looking at a certain salesperson whose name is Chris Walker, a certain customer named Drink Discount, and Apple brand. This is also a nice preview of what permission-based experience can be like. If I'm a P&L owner for a country of France, when I log in, I will only see my P&L information. I will not see the entire company. So instead of having multiple spreadsheets, you have one report with row-level security built in. That means the finance team and or Power BI team only needs to develop and maintain one single report, and we can have a custom experience for all of our contributors across the globe. When they log in, they see their subset of data. They can come in and make their changes. And our product understands any filters applied and or row level security applied, and will now go back and do a 1 million unit increase across the certain factors and the row level security that's been passed through all those parameters. Best part about it, you never need to collect, consolidate, and validate a spreadsheet ever again. If I clear my filter, and let's put on our CFO hat for a second, when I come back to my review and my view of the entire organization, you can see that the manager of France, or Chris Walker in that example, came back and made a 1 million unit increase. Our plan went from 226 to 227, and Chris Walker's target for the year went from 87 to 88. So you have that instantaneous consolidation and roll up. That's very important for many organizations. Speaking of things that are important for finance teams, commentary, okay, being able to provide context, right? Power BI is fantastic at giving a visual story. Sometimes you need to add a little more. You need to be able to come in and describe a variance and not do that on the side of a report or an Excel template that you send out to everybody, right? Sometimes we need to come in and tell you exactly why this variance exists. And it's because the Kroger order was delayed 3 weeks. The best part about our product is these comments do not live in the cell or the report level. Okay, they live at the intersection of data within our cube and our tabular model. So if I drill down to our friend Chris Walker again in a new intersection of data, you can now see the comments have changed because the comments do not live in this report. They do not live in the cell. Now that we're looking at Chris Walker opposed to the entire organization, I'm now seeing just Chris Walker information and comments that are pertinent to his book of business. So that is an introduction to our matrix visual. To show you some other cool stuff you can do with goal seeking, we can kind of get into driver-based modeling. So as an example, when I talk about driver-based modeling, think of a DAX equation or a calculation that gets us to, in this example, margin. Quantity times price equals sales, minus discount amount gets us to net sales, minus cost of goods sold gives us to our margin. Okay, people, so many companies that we work with want to be able to do driver-based modeling. What I mean by that is pick out a factor of an equation. I want to manipulate price, or I want to solve for price, or I want to solve for quantity, understand how I achieve a certain margin percentage. So if I come over here, I can set goal seek on my price. And then what I'm saying is I need to increase my margin from 88 million to 95 million. I don't think I can sell more than I did last year. What price point do I need to get? Press save changes, and just like that, we will go back and reprocess, give you your new price point, and recalculate all of your calculated columns that you have in this report. So now you can see that all I need to do to get that is get a new price point of 5.34 to achieve my 95 million unit margin. Okay, and the coolest part about our product is you can do all that driver-based modeling via drag and drop. So in this example, you can see our third visual, a drag and drop bar chart. Here we have a bunch of different variances. As a finance team, everybody, we know what's important, right? We need the ability to not only collect data, but also to have our variance reporting so we can see how we did, how close we were, and how we're trending. So in this example, we have budget, forecast, target, all versus actual. And again, you can hover over and use the strength of Power BI, where actuals versus forecast, percent variances, financial variances, any trend lines that come with it. But for one of our big four accounting firms, they wanted to be able to update and select from a drop down certain items. So think of a professional services company. what drives their business, right? Hours, billing rate, utilization percentages. Being able to do what we just did right here and manipulate price or quantity and see the effect on our bottom line is something they can now do. They select via drop down, and now they can come over here and manipulate certain factors of their business and see the effect on profitability. Press Save Changes. I've selected my forecast 1 version, so only my middle square of my screen will update to reflect that change. And we will go from 6.7 million to a new number, okay, based on the calculations and changes we've made. We just increased and made almost $2 million in our bottom line. So finance teams and FP&A teams that want to do real-time analysis are kind of going crazy for this type of functionality. No longer do they need to create a new spreadsheet to do something. Now they can just, from selecting something and doing a drag and drop on their screen, be able to see the financial ramifications of a decision. And what is Power BI? What is all this stuff that we do for? It's for decision support. So to be able to have this type of functionality in the end user's hands goes a very long way. It takes a lot of stress off finance teams and IT teams when this can be done in a self-service manner. Now, when I just showed you everybody how we can do all this drag and drop stuff, it's very important. We don't want everybody coming in all willy-nilly and updating a budget version and making changes and seeing all of our numbers, kind of fly off the rails, right? But we do want them to be able to do their own analysis. And the way we do that is by allowing sandbox environments or new versions of data to be created instantaneously. If I show you what I mean real quick, we can do an insert here, and I can take a copy from a certain version that exists in our database today, and I can create a new version, okay? Now, just like this, I can create the PPF what if, press Save Changes, and now we have created a new version ID within our database and a new sandbox or a new scenario that now our end users can come in and manipulate and make the changes that they need and they want to do without affecting any of our production data. So just like that, in a matter of seconds, I've created a new version from scratch. I can now come in here and see what happens if I negotiate a new interest rate with our bank. Press Save Changes, see the effect. I can manipulate our average days in AR, right, and receivables and see the effect on my cash flow. But I'm not messing with any of our production data. I can share this version with colleagues. I can delete it. I can do whatever I would like with this version. All right, so very cool functionality, very easy. Again, what we're trying to do is give you that self-service feel and experience directly within Power BI. You don't need to make spreadsheets. You don't need to call IT and ask them to create a new model or a new version for you to manipulate. Now the finance team, executives, salespeople can do all of that directly within Power BI. Next, we will hop in and kind of show you some machine learning, okay? So what I've talked about earlier on in the meeting, everybody, was so many companies do not just want to take a copy of last year's actuals, okay, and move that forward a year and give that to our P&L contributors, right? We may want to run some machine learning algorithms, an R script, a certain DAX calculation against historical data to pre-populate a forecast. And with our product, you can do that at the drop of a button here, okay? So now I can come in and instead of doing that, what we always do, increase something by 3%, send it out, and that's where we're going to start. We can now come in here, okay, and again, create a new machine learning version. And the end users, okay, can then choose from a drop-down screen of all different types of R scripts, Python scripts, and other machine learning functions that they can then run against historical data. That could be run against our last 3 years, our last 10 years, our last 3 months. And then we will populate out a forecast for them and give them that baseline forecast that they can then come in and do overrides. So as an example, I can come in here and say, random walk, do 12 months, and please run that. So now we will go back, we'll pull that script, we'll run it against historical data, and we're going to give a 12-month forecast, okay, and create that called PPF ML. All right, so just like that, we have again just created a new version of data inside of our database, and the forecast is right here called PPF ML. And what I can do is even commit this. If I like the way it looks down here, okay, so I can click on it and I can see the output that came from the script and what they believe we were going to do based on this time series script that we ran. I can now commit this, and that will create the version itself. So when I go back to that input screen I showed you at the beginning of the meeting, we go to our manual fine-tuning screen. The PPF version will now exist there, and we have a full-blown machine learning forecast as our starting point. So you see up here, we have our PPF ML version. And now our end users can come in and say, okay, this is the starting point that the machine says we're going to do. And now I can come in here and make my adjustments on that level. So again, really enhancing the forecasting process, giving the end users options for how they want to populate and build their own forecast without having to go back to the mothership or having to rely on IT for anything. So maybe, if there's any questions, again, please feel free to fire them into the chat. I will keep going. As we move forward, just kind of show you what a finished product can look like. This is for one of our Fortune companies. You can also, when I showed you guys how to handle all those versions, it's very important that you realize that the finance team can actually manage them, okay, and do all their version control. In this example, you can see all different scenarios, right, and versions. And this company wants to have some, version control around it. So when I change the status to initial, all of our contributors can come in and do data entry in their respective inputs and for that version. If I move that to under review, only our finance team and only management will be able to come in and manipulate data. All of our entry level, lower level users will be locked out of that version. And when all of our management's done and the version's finalized, you move it to finalized, and that becomes a read-only version in our database that will only be used for reporting purposes going forward. So you have full-blown version control capabilities built in and baked into the solution. This also shows you a really nice way of a multi-tiered planning approach where you can replace, again, huge, extensive Excel spreadsheets that have gone out of, that have just gone crazy. And this company here, they want to have the ability to update quantity, to plan at revenue, and also adjust average sales price if they want. So you're giving the people multiple different ways to input and forecast and update data directly within Power BI. And in addition, you can see I can plan at a business unit level. I can also plan at a country level. As you know, there's usually multiple tiers within an organization, especially from a planning perspective. So now we have the business unit plan that goes down, and each business unit is made up of countries. They can now plan at the country level. And of course, each country has their own leader that will then plan at the product level. So you have top-down and bottom-up planning all in the same screen, all in the same report. Everybody has their own permission-based experience. A really cool feature too that a lot of people ask about, well, when you have people entering data, is there an audit log? Can we see who did what and when? The answer is a resounding yes. Everything that we do with our product and everything that's entered is stored in an audit log. To show you an example, you can have a Power BI button, you can have your own report, or you can have a pop-up screen right here that shows you change history. So I can see the date and time things were changed, who it was changed by, and also any historical, the information here, old value and new value. You can also assign tasks and handle workflows and approvals and see all comments made in a very similar manner right here. As an example, show me, you can use any Power BI filter you want. Show me all comments made by Susan last week, and you will have a report that shows you all the comments made by Susan. So it's a very interactive and enjoyable experience. If you are using Excel and other third-party software today for your planning, you're not able to do any of that stuff on the fly like we can provide within Power BI. Next, we also get away from the planning piece. There's a lot of data that goes in, right? What happens if I want to plan for a new, product that doesn't exist anywhere, right? So many people do that on a cocktail napkin, right, or in Excel. With our product, you actually can handle this type of new product SKU planning, new offices, new hires, and attritions directly in a database manner. So this is our fourth visual called Table Editor. And if I want to plan for a new customer that doesn't exist inside of my database or in my data model, and I just want to do that for a version, I can actually create that in our data model and our database instantaneously. Just like that, I've created Boeing in our customer name table, a new defense customer group name in our customer group table. And now when our end users come in and they want to plan at their scenario level, they can enter data in a Boeing customer name. In addition, you can use this for whatever you want. Right here is a product SKU where I can add new products and plan at those levels. We have customers that have even built little applications here like new hire and attritions. They're going to be a $50,000 salary. They're going to start on 7/15 and they're an FTE of 1. People can now come in and plan headcounts, new hires, attritions in an application like this. And now that they're part of our plan, when I go look at my salary forecast or my budget plan for, for July, we now have a new hire and all their stuff is there. Okay, so some of our bigger clients, when they do a new hire attrition or they move a resource from one place to another, they were doing it in 6, 7 different places. Now they can do all of their data management directly within Power BI as well. To showcase a really great functionality here, this is one of our clients that had, the finance team would get a new product ID. Okay, so it's a product ID is a number and also a product description. The thing is, from a roll up and reporting perspective, the finance team was not sure where that rolls up to. You know who has that information in their head? Someone called a product line manager. And you know where that person is? On an oil field. Okay, so they were sending out Excel spreadsheets, emails, calling people, asking them where these new products belong from a roll up perspective. It was very tedious and very manual and very time consuming. Now that no longer is the case. When a new product comes in, they can assign that to a product line manager, in this case, Sean. And now they have, Sean sees from his cell phone what products need a new home from a roll-up and reporting perspective. These are attributes, again, the finance team does not know that Sean does. And Sean can now come in and tell you that the VTS 100 belongs to this product grouping, belongs to this product segment, and belongs to this product family. And just like that, we did a full-blown custom mapping and roll-up exercise. And now whenever I look at reporting in Power BI that includes drilling solutions as a product family, I know my VTS 100 will be included in that reporting. So a ton of finance teams are not only using us to collect data and budget and forecast, but also to manage all of the hierarchies, the data management, and everything that goes on behind the scenes throughout a planning cycle. In addition, when you talk about GL planning and P&L stuff, a lot of people want to get to the nitty-gritty. What I showed you with our matrix visual earlier, everybody, was the ability to do aggregate level changes, right? Update 1 million transactions in one time. A lot of our companies just want to do simple, detail, like line item detail, right? So here you can see I have a bunch of SG&A expense. I can select on travel and entertainment, which is a certain GL line item. And now I can see all of my transactions that are rolling up to travel and entertainment. So if I want to come in here and create something new, the 29th, $150, client lunch, I can get into the nitty gritty and create new transactions and do all different types of line item detail data entry if you'd like as well. Next, workflows and approvals, also a very important part of what we do for finance teams. Obviously, when you have people entering data, you would like to be able to maintain where things are in our budgeting cycle. So here you can see a bunch of different statuses that are color-coded, and I can see all the tasks that have been assigned that must take place. Think of a budgeting cycle, everybody. What is it? It's a project, right? That you need somebody needs to do this by this time, and then that's how we finish our budget. Over here, you can see a bunch of different statuses, and I can see, okay, who has not started their work? And you can reassign tasks to your finance team or different contributors, just like this. And when I press Save Changes, Adam just received an email letting him know he's now responsible for Expense Forecast 1, effective immediately. And we can now, Adam can come in and see his work and can put something in for review. Okay, press Save Changes. And as you can imagine through the workflow and approval process, Adam's manager just received an email, or you can have these, sent out the end of the day or the end of the week, right? But the point is when Adam's manager and the manager logs in, he or she will now see that they have their own permission-based experience. Adam has put something in for review. We can have hyperlinks here that take us directly to Adam's inputs. I can reject that with a comment. Hey, Adam, go back to May and increase that by 5%, or I can approve it. And when this status changes from something from review to approved, it fires off a database trigger. So now Adam's inputs will be moved from Expense Forecast 1 and moved into our budget read-only version. So full-blown workflow and approvals directly within Power BI. You guys can approve changes, you can view changes, and also have that kind of handled at the database layer. Last thing I want to show you here today is also the ability to handle all of your row level security and permissions directly within Power BI. Any type of security that exists in your database or in Power BI today automatically passes through to our visuals. Okay, so that's really good news. If you want to maintain that going forward, we have our own row-level security type of management module here. So you can make global assumptions, you can find Active Directory groupings, or you can find individual employees. And you can see here that you can manage read-write access. So now when this user logs in, he or she will be able to see all 4 of our brands, but only write back to 3 of those. Again, you don't have to give this functionality to your end users and to the management of finance, but you can. Okay, so these are really great things that a lot of people are able to do here with this product. In addition to all that, we also have our financial report writer. Again, just to show you a little bit more, we can spend a whole hour on this product, but you can kind of get a flavor for what you can do with this solution. We can build cash flow, income statements, balance sheets directly within Power BI, with perfect pixel perfect reporting. You have your bold, your italics, your percentages, you have your subtotals, your lines, everything that a finance team yearns for from a reporting perspective within Power BI. And oh yeah, the cool part about it, we can also supercharge it with planning. So now for a budget or a forecast column, I can actually manipulate days in receivable down here and see the effect on cash flow. Okay, so you can really manipulate and massage a lot of different variables here. Then you can even show some other examples that we have here. Cash flow for years. You can see income statements and kind of have all that stuff built into the product instantaneously. Okay, and it's again a one-stop shop type of experience for our end users where they can come in here and you create it once from a report perspective, all right, and then all these reports are here and they kick back with live information whenever you open them up. So with 8 minutes left, I would like to take a breather and we can answer any questions if you'd like to unmute or write things. From a prerequisite perspective, I see Mark has asked a question here. I can run through that real quick, just what is required today to use our product. From a data flow perspective, if you want to do full-blown budgeting and forecasting, we require SQL and SSAS Tabular or Azure Analysis Services. Okay, the semantic layer. If you're using Power BI Premium, we can also write back to your premium data sets and you will not have a reliance on analysis services or a tabular model, right, for your data sets. So the way it works is you have your SQL database, you have analysis services tabular, that feeds Power BI from a reporting perspective. Our custom visuals then have a web service that's installed inside of our client's environment, and that will write back to the database, refresh tabular, and refresh Power BI instantaneously. From a prerequisite perspective and what you actually need to install the product, it's very simplistic in nature. All you really need here, if you're using Azure, we need somebody that has the ability to create and access new Azure resources. If you're using a data gateway, we need an IIS server and an SSL certificate. None of these things cost money. These are simple requests that you will make to an IT team, and they provide to the finance team for installation. If you have those things, depending on what your environment looks like, we could do an install tomorrow, and then you can begin using the product. And that, everybody, is kind of what I wanted to cover today. I want to show you the art of the possible. A lot of people are unaware that you can actually do this type of functionality and add this functionality to Power BI. I hope you guys enjoyed what you saw here today. Again, feel free to come off mute and ask any questions that you may have. And if you're interested in a more detailed demo or have any other questions, you guys can obviously reach out to me. My email is right here. My phone number is right here at any time, and a member of a Power On team will support you and get any questions you have answered.
Mike, quick question actually.
Yep.
On there you were showing with the drag and drop on the visuals. Are those all custom visuals, or is it part of a suite of visuals? You've got the matrix for kind of write back, and then you have line charts and bar charts that you can drag for planning. Is that how it works?
Correct. Yeah. So the visual planning solution is a combination of 4 custom visuals that can be used in any manner and in an unlimited fashion by any organization.
What are those for? So the matrix line chart.
It's the data entry matrix. It's a line chart. It's the bar chart, drag and drop, and also the table editor, which is meant for more transactional and data management type experiences.
Cool, thank you.
Great, thank you, Mike. It's very, very interesting. I think there's it's amazing what you can do with Power BI with different approaches, and when you start writing back to different databases. So yeah, it's really interesting to see. Have we got any final questions, anybody on the line?
Nothing from anyone. It was quite quiet. I'll ask another question, Mike. With that row level security, how does that work with existing kind of row level security they might have set up? So does it respect that, or do you need to replicate that in Power BI?
No, so anything that's already built from a row level security perspective passes through to our visuals day one, Rishi. So if they want to do something in addition to that or maintain that going forward, they don't have to be RLS experts. They don't have to call IT. They can use that module I showed you to manipulate that and adjust it from that module.
Great. I saw Mark raised his hand. Maybe you can't type into the chat, Mark. Do you want to unmute yourself and ask a question?
Yeah, sorry. Actually, your comment about training, you don't need to provide any training. You must provide some kind of materials to give people guidance on the product.
Yeah, so whenever we onboard a customer, they receive a kickstarting package that includes all training. What I meant by that statement, Mark, was that the end user contributors do not require training. People that will develop using our visuals and build the input screens, they will require training, right? To show them how to configure and customize the visuals to your organization's needs.
Okay, thanks.
And that is all included in any purchase.
Yeah, I mean, I'd encourage you guys, if this is kind of areas that you're interested in, have a look more at Power BI. There's a lot that Mike's covered there. So go onto the website, reach out to Mike, sign up to the team channel if you want on the feedback form, and I'll put another link to it there. And let's carry on the conversations. Do also have a look at where some of the other vendors are positioned in this space, right? So we had Valkyrie 2 weeks ago. We've got Activist in another fortnight. They having seen all three, there are differences between them. They are positioned slightly differently in terms of the functionality and in terms of what you can do. So and you probably want to make that kind of decision yourself and have that consideration. So do look at across the board at these kind of these vendors and what they can do for your particular organization.
Great. Well, I think we'll wrap it up there if there aren't any further questions. Thank you very much, Mike. It's really interesting to see a second time through. Definitely picked up some different things this time. So thanks for your time. It's I'm sure there's a million things I still don't know, but it's very interesting to see. So thanks a lot, and thanks Rishi, and thanks Naveen, and thanks everyone for joining. We'll catch you next time. Cheers.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
Thanks a lot.